Randy Scott.
Are you
Randy
sure,
Streisky, dude? And
Are you
Jerry
sure?
Streisky back with you on SportsCenter. We got Game 7, I'm sure of that. Cavs Pistons tonight in Detroit. This is how they got there. I am sure of it because it's in the script. Pistons took Game 1 of the series by 10. Detroit snapped a 12-game losing streak against the Cavs in the playoffs, which was tied for the longest by any team against a single opponent in NBA history.
And then Game 2 also went to the Pistons by 10. Cade Cunningham had 25 points, 10 dimes, while Tobias Harris added 21 points and 7 rebounds. It was the Pistons' 5th straight playoff win.
Donovan Mitchell's 35 points and 10 rebounds helped the Cavs grab their first win of the series in Game 3. They were on home court for this, 116-109. Cleveland ended the game on a 12-5 run, with James Harden scoring 7 of the Cavs' final 12 points.
Vita Mitch, a vintage performance in Game 4, dropped 43 points, including 39 in the second half. A 112-103 Cavs win. Mitchell's 39 second-half points tied for the most in a playoff half in NBA history.
Looked like the Pistons had Game 5 wrapped up, leading by 9 with 3 minutes left, but Cleveland went on a 9-0 run to force OT, eventually win the game. Detroit had as high as a 98% chance to win that game.
Game 6, another must-win for the Pistons. Detroit got it done. They won by 21 points in Cleveland. Detroit has now won 4 straight when facing elimination in these playoffs. NBA analyst Quentin Richardson and our NBA reporter Tim Bontemps are with us this morning. And Tim, we're gonna start with you. What's at stake for Cade Cunningham and the Pistons tonight in Game 7?
Well, this is a huge opportunity for Cade Cunningham and JB Bickerstaff, the coach of the Pistons, to break through and reach the Eastern Conference Finals. As you mentioned, they're going into their 5th game in these playoffs facing elimination. So far, they are obviously 4-0, which is how they've gotten here. For Cade Cunningham, he's had some massive games in these playoffs. He's obviously following up a tremendous season where he's all but certainly going to be top 5 in MVP voting. The winner of that award will be announced later today, and he's also going to be a first-team All-NBA player. But he's had some costly turnovers in this series, including 3 critical ones late in Game 3 that cost Detroit a chance to potentially close the series out very early, so he will want to make up for that. And as for JB Bickerstaff, he coached the Cavs for several years before getting fired and then almost immediately taking over the Pistons. You know he would love to win this game tonight, knock out his former team, and reach the conference finals for the first time as a head coach. For both those guys, massive opportunity for a career-changing win tonight in Detroit.
QR, maybe therein lies the answer to this next question. What is the QR code for the 1 seed in the East Pistons to win this Game 7?
Oh, man, fellas, QR code is obviously MVPK. MVPK Cunningham is necessary to lead the charge, and then they need to go out there and they need to force turnovers. They need to lead with their defense. They're at home. They need to play with the home crowd, getting into it early. And then the role players, man, we all know and everybody says that the role players play much better at home, so they need their role players to be great defensively. They need them to add 3-point shooting and defense for them. But also, you think about it, the last game, the bench had 48-19. That was the big difference in the Game 6, so they need their bench to come big for them and scoring again tonight.
Okay, so we talked about the Pistons side of this. Tim, what's at stake for the Cavs this evening?
A whole lot. I mean, there's a ton on the line for Cleveland in this game. They came into this season as co-favorites with the Knicks to make it out of the East, make it back to the finals for the first time ever without LeBron. They can make the conference finals for the first time since 1992 without LeBron James with a win today. And for Donovan Mitchell in particular, there's a ton on the line in this game. This is a guy who's made the playoffs a whole lot in his career. He's never made it out of the second round. These guys have the more talented team, the more experienced team. He and James Harden have both been in the playoffs, obviously plenty. They both had a lot of playoff disappointments. For both of them, this would be massive if they could break through and make the conference finals. And if the Cavs don't, I would expect a lot of changes this offseason. So a huge game for a lot of people in this franchise. We'll see if they can get a win in Detroit tonight.
More seasoned, more talent, like you say there. QR, though, the Cavs, despite that, 4.5-point underdogs in Game 7, of course, on the road. So what's the QR code for Cleveland to pull off an upset?
Not much different from Detroit, fellas. QR code for Cleveland is like you need Donovan Mitchell to be special. You need a dominant performance from him. But not only him, you need James Harden to be efficient. You need him to take care of the ball and keep his turnovers down, because when he's able to do that, they get more possessions and they do better without turning that ball over and getting Detroit into transition. And also, you got to go out there and you got to limit the Detroit bench. I just talked about how the Detroit Pistons had 48-19 in bench scoring last game. Cleveland has to come out and counter that. They have to defend that, and their bench players have to be better, and they need big-time three-point shooting from Strus and others.
3-and-D is going to get it done. We'll see who advances for a chance to get beaten by the New York Knicks. That is Q Rich and Tim Bontemps. We appreciate you both. Thank you.
Kenny, how are you? Let's
Good morning, good afternoon, and good everything to all of y'all.
Love that.
Kenny.
Look at him in his
Queens in the
suit
building.
and tie.
Queens in the building.
Today,
I see that.
And all day, man, and I'm so happy to be here with my my Carolinian brethren over there that's 15 miles away.
Unbelievable.
Who said that we were relevant. Are we relevant now, Mr. Williams? Are we?
I've been waiting for it.
We're making.
Kenny, I've been
Are
waiting
we
for
relevant in Chapel Hill right now? That's all I have to say.
You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong.
All right, that's
Okay.
cute. Okay, that's cute. We'll talk more about that during college basketball season. Can we get to the NBA playoffs now? Let's zoom in on the Cavs and the Pistons here. Kenny, if James Harden has a good game tonight, can he affect his legacy? Can he change the narrative?
Well, the legacy is not affected. James Harden is an MVP. He is a multiple All-Star. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer. But his script on how he gets there changes. Because, you know, in 10 years, the kids of Jason or anyone else will not remember certain things. They'll just say, wow, look at the numbers this guy put up. But I think the script changes for sure if he's able to just secure positive affecting moments in games 6 and 7. They don't have to be 40-point games. Just don't turn the basketball over. You shoot over 50%, and you make sure that everyone gets the ball in the right places. I think his problem in this series has been turning the basketball over when he's not his best. And between he and Cade Cunningham, whoever turns the ball over less seems to be the team who wins.
Jay, I'm going to re-tee you on the same question about Harden, but a little differently here. What will we say about Harden if he has a good game tonight?
I think we end up talking about the last 3 games. James has been playing with more pace and more sense of urgency. And you can see that in his shot-making ability. You know, I think the bigger problem, Kenny, I would love to get your opinion on this too, SA, is that, like, I think the world, like, we want James to be a winner. Like, we want him to win the big one. And when you're a player of his skill and his ceiling, you want to see that memorialized the right way. And I think that's a lot of the problems when you hear basketball people talk about James. Because, Kenny, you know, from a young age, I've always been taught what you put into the game is what you will get out of it. And there are a lot of times when you watch James play, there's certain moments, like you said, those moments to show up. It's maybe not about dropping 40, but those moments when you see him having the ability to put into the game what he wants out of it. And at times it feels like he doesn't do that, right? So I hope that we're up here saying one day that, hey, it's cemented itself because we all understand the talent. We understand how prolific of a scorer he is, but now we're able to put the final wrapper and bow around it, that he's the winner that we always knew his talent could reach if he were to buy into it. Does that make sense, Kenny?
Makes sense. You know, there's a saying, and I know Stephen has a lot to add to it. There's a saying that, you know, I use all the time, you know, from the great Walt Frazier. The regular season, you make your name, but the playoffs is when you make your fame. And if you think about his career, he's had 41 games where he's had 30 points or more in a playoff game. So you were like, my goodness, he has become famous in the playoffs. But if you say, okay, out of those 41 games, just with Houston, that was just with Houston. You say, okay, what was the shots that you remember? You remember that, like, if you think of every great player, there's a signature moment in the playoffs where they propelled their team, not because of the whole entirety of the game. Jordan, because of, you know, obviously we know the shot Michael makes. We know the shot LeBron's made. We know all of these great player moments. He hasn't had the signature playoff moment that's going to be played on the opening of ESPN and ABC when we open the game 10 years from now and they go the greatest moments in his playoff history. He doesn't have that moment yet, and I think that is what we're waiting for. If people root for, because we all loved his game or love his game.
I think the important part that of this discussion that everybody needs to understand, you know, everybody, Jay might say it with a stoic look on his face. I might say it with a serious look on my face. Kenny Smith might say it with a smile on his face. But we're all saying the same thing. We want to see your greatness shine. It doesn't matter who you are. I know that I don't root against guys being successful. I know that y'all don't either. What we want to see is that if you are great, we want to see you go up against greatness and still be great. That's what we want from James Harden. Yeah, okay, you still got a career. You get ready to sign a new contract in the offseason in all likelihood. You've signed a multitude of contracts over the years. You've been in the league for over a decade and a half. We know that you're going to the Hall of Fame. We know you're one of the great players to have ever played the game. We know you're one of the most prolific scorers we've ever seen. You're on the all-time 75th